Hello and welcome back again, Bots and Bits fans. On this Fair Morn, we're taking a semi-enthusiastic look at the Black Mamba LS02 Bottleneck, the police car. On the box it's also called Barricades, on the instructions it's called Roadblock, and at one point during development they referred to this guy as Deemster, which is a bit weird. This is of course their one-to-one of Masterpiece Takara Barricade, with some engineering improvements, paint, sculpt improvements, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. We'll get into that. Now, before we get into this, I'd just like to introduce my personal friend, Mr. Dominant Claw. Try not to mention the spots, he's a little bit funny about them. Alright, so we'll just quickly take a look at the box. Now, we just got some custom artwork there, which looks pretty good. We've got some fiery spinning shit. We know that kids love burning stuff, and some product shots on the back, and that's that. So let's head down and just quickly take a look at the accessories. We don't get many. Right, so all we get is the blade wheel spinny thing, that stupid weapon from the movie. Unfortunately, it doesn't burn anything like the box would suggest, but yeah, it's all bendy, no paint or anything. So to attach this ridiculous thing, it doesn't actually say how to do it in the instructions, and now that I'm looking at it, I've just noticed that some of my spikes are pretty warped, but whatever, I don't care. This thing's stupid. But anyway, unpeg the arm here and fold this down, flatten the thumb, straighten out the hands, and unpeg the hand from the wheel. Then grab this panel, fold this down. Now just remember that that's spring loaded, so we're going to have to push this down and fold this around. The hand needs to rotate around flush like that. Untab the wheel from this part of the arm. It's on a slider, so we're just going to slide that up, rotate it around, so then it's right there. And we've got a tab just there, and it's going to go in there. Then we also have to get this tab on top as well. Does that make sense? So we're going to go at it on an angle. There we go. And then fold all this back up. And there's this. Is it meant to go back up? Oh, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I don't care. It looks ridiculous. So, yeah. And we also get a clear plastic stand for it. Now, let's see how I'm doing this. Hold it. Hold it. Just get in there. You just gotta slot it in there, right? And then just line this section up with a flat bit so the blades don't really interfere. Yeah, look, that's good enough. And of course we get the instructions, which actually start on the back. So you got the robot mode on the back. Going through to vehicle mode. Alright, back up to Bottleneck, Barricade, Roadblock, Deemster the Third. Now, I'm not a very big fan of the Bayverse stuff. I've made that pretty clear. If you're not sure about how I feel about that, I made a short movie about it. I'll try and link it up here, where I make my feelings very well known. But I was having a chat with Black Mamba on Weibo, and they asked me what my thoughts on this were, so why not? So, despite this design being a red-hot steaming pile of mess, Black Mamba have done a fantastic job with the final product and just cleaning this up. Look, the police down the side there, the white on the door. This thing is just so tidy. There are no sprue marks, there are no stress marks, nothing. Look at that. It is just really well done. Like I said, the joints are all nice and tight, and the feet are die-cast, and this thing is just solid as. Look, it's just really stable. Despite hating the design and hating the overall character, can't help but be impressed with what Black Mamba have done with this. They've made a lot of changes to this guy to make him more screen accurate. They've replaced all the blue paint with purple paint. We've got metallic purple there, up here, in the neck. And that is all done really nicely. See if it will focus. There we go. Look at that. Very nice. They've added more details to the bumper. They've got some more purple inside the leg here. All done fantastically. They've got black paint on the die-cast feet right here. It's a little bit lumpy, but you get that with die-cast. We've got some silver here on the claws, silver on the wheels. Now, when it comes to the face, they've reversed the paint job. On the official, the brow area was all more silver, and there was no silver chin or anything like that. So they've made it more screen accurate. I think this looks absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it looks like in the movie, so they've done a good job there. Mouth still opens nice and wide, showing his gold teeth. His eyes are painted red. They are pretty vibrant, they do stand out quite a bit amongst all that mess. But then the back of the head has no painted detail whatsoever, so I would have thought they would have kept the silver going around the back there. Head is on a ball socket, when the ball socket is on a hinge for transformation, I think, and so you get a fair amount of range. So in the arm, we've got a ratchet going all the way around, which, oh, this window just keeps getting in the way. Ratchet going all the way around, which is nice and tight, nice and stiff, and let's just move that. And then when it comes to the outward motion, we get about 3 or 4 clicks, so, but then all this starts getting in the way of itself and really limits the up you can get straight out anyway. Then there's also the upper bicep swivel right here under this silver bit. That is nice and stiff. Then the friction joint here is nice and stiff as well. I was concerned that this tab on a KO would come out quite easily, but very rarely does that come out at all. Further down, they've added some spring-loaded detail right there. It's just a convenience thing, so you don't have to sort of stick your finger in there and wiggle it out. Also, so it doesn't collapse in while you're having to play with it. So onto the wrists, there's no wrist swivel really, there's no wrist flex, nothing. And when it comes to the hands, we've just got a articulated thumb and the fingers all one piece go in and out like that. The plastic here is separated. Focus. It looks like they could have separated the fingers. I was really hoping that they would have, but no, they're all still one piece. Waist swivel works great. A little bit impeded by this little backpack here, but you get as much as you need, really. When it comes to the legs, I do have one issue that I'm not happy with. It's this hinge just under here. When you manipulate it out, that ratchet, nice and strong, doing a great job, but this transformation hinge in here, not so strong. And then, when you're ratcheting it back, because the ratchet is nice and stiff, you've got to sort of like push against the joint and lift it up while bending the hips. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's only a real minor thing. Legs forward and back, plenty of range, nice and stiff joints, and that's come out. Then we have an upper thigh swivel, which is nice and stiff, but totally destroys the mold. Even though this thing just looks like a mismatch of black spikes and cutlery, that still breaks up the mold. But anyway, further down below that, we have, get a hold, double jointed ratcheted knee. The first ratchet doesn't really get too far, and it's not tight, it's not loose, it's pretty good. But then we've got a second ratchet just above it, and that is bloody tight. Does not want to move for me, but you do get amazing range out of it once you move it. So I'm not complaining about tight ratchets. I think they're great, especially in the hips and the legs. The only problem I'm having so far is just that little hinge joint in there. Onto the feet. Die-cast feet, they're painted pretty well. Do have a little bit of thickness and lumpiness, but you get that with paint on die-cast. Have a rocker with some pretty good range. Not too stiff, not too loose. The only problem is, if you tilt it back, do have some plastic detail here that it's colliding with. Plenty of range up like that, all the way to the toe spike. And when it comes to the toe spike, I don't know why they did this. They really did not need to spring load this toe spike. But whatever. It's a cool little feature they didn't need to add. Now that's pretty much Barricade done. Now I'm not going to cover the transformation. There are so many videos about the official and the other KOs and stuff. This guy's been out for a while. The instructions are pretty clear, etc, etc. So let's just get onto vehicle mode. Alright, there he is in vehicle mode. Now let's just bring this down a little bit and take a good look. Now that was fiddly. That was super fiddly doing that. The only Bayverse spots I have on hand at the moment for size comparison are the TF Dream Factory God Tank and what I've got here, Weijiang Wasp. So yeah, good scale, looks great. So, straight up, rolls just fine. Sorry about the noise. Not getting too much interference from the stuff underneath. I did have one issue transforming it, and that was there's like a little tab just in the sitters corner here where the window tabs into the door. Slightly misshapen, so that was a huge pain in the ass to get together. The rest of it went together just fine once I figured out how to do it. All of the tampo details on the side, look at them, they're just, like I said, the finish on this is just incredible. Everything is just super tight. Look at the detail, no fuzziness, nothing. I think that might be slightly crooked, that shield. It is. So there you go, one error. But the rest of it all looks fantastic. Got the clear plastic over the headlight, Got the details in the front, all the silver details look good. The indicators aren't fuzzy, nothing. Some of the details on the side, that shield looks straight. Is that one straight? Maybe that one's slightly crooked as well. So punish and enslave on the side there is legible. No fuzziness, nothing. And the license plate on the back looks good. Got the exhaust, everything. They've done a really good job. I will say kudos to the Takara designers for turning that absolute piece of mess into something as streamlined as this. And the only real obvious thing on the vehicle mode you can see is the little toes out the back, which you know, that's fine. When I was transforming it, I didn't realize before, all of these hinges and these brackets and everything, all in here, all of that is all die cast. This thing has so much weight to it. This is quite heavy. It's very, very solid. I dig it in vehicle mode, not so much bot mode, but they have done a good job. Alrighty, so final thoughts wise, is it worth it and should you buy it? If you're into the Bayverse stuff and you don't have a Masterpiece Barricade yet, then yeah, go for it. I did have two minor faults. One of the tabs on the car window was a little tiny bit misshapen, so it was a little bit awkward to get in. And then in bot mode, you've got that transformation hinge where the two legs fold down into each other. They were a little bit loose on mine, but that's it. That's it. I can't fault the paint. In fact, the paint is immaculate. The black paint on the diecast is done really well. All of the lights, all of the details, everything. There is nothing fuzzy. There's nothing chipped. There's nothing scratched. There's no bleeding of paint. There's nothing out of the lines. Everything just looks perfect, with one exception, and that was the police shield logo on the front fender was just a little bit, just the tiniest bit crooked. That's the only error. For the money, this thing is just, it's really, really well done. If you're into Bayverse. I'm not, so I don't care whether I keep this or not. But as for details and product wise and quality wise, yeah, this is fantastic. If you want one, go get one. I highly recommend it. And that's it, guys. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out my Facebook for daily news and updates on KO and third-party stuff. I have Instagram and Twitter. I post different content on all three platforms, so make sure you go check them all out. And as always, guys, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching.